2026 might just be the year California's rail revolution becomes unstoppable. In this episode of Great Train Speed, we'll unpack the critical developments that make this year a game changer, from fresh funding to visible progress on the ground. The high-speed rail project is no longer a distant hope. Now, it's a fast-approaching reality that could transform the way millions live and travel. The California High-Speed Rail Project heads into 2026 with something it has never had before, including long-term financial certainty. When the state approved a $20 billion commitment through the Cap and Invest program, providing $1 billion per year. Through 2045, it instantly changed the authority's credibility in the eyes of investors, lawmakers, and global rail operators. For a project that spent much of the last decade fighting for every dollar, this steady revenue stream is nothing short of transformative. This shift is already visible in how CEO Ian Choudhary talks about the future. On the Talking Headways podcast with Streets Blog SF's Roger Rudick, Choudhary described the new funding as the moment he could pick up the phone and seriously re-engage private partners he has known for years, and those partners appear ready. Many of them were waiting for exactly this kind of long-term financial signal before committing to a project of this scale. The authorities board will vote on November 20th to determine whether California should begin formally soliciting private investment proposals. If approved, the authority will ask global rail builders, operators, and financiers to submit detailed plans showing how they would operate and maintain a segment of the system. Choudhary believes California could name its first public-private partner by mid-2026, something that would have been unthinkable just 2 or 3 years ago. Such a partnership would not simply bring new money, it would introduce an entirely new model for how the line is delivered. In the model Choudhary described, private firms would cover upfront design and construction costs, then operate the segment for several decades under a long-term agreement. The state would reimburse them through availability payments once work is complete, while future revenue from ticket sales and property development would gradually replace taxpayer contributions. This approach is well tested around the world. Nations such as France, Japan, Spain, and Italy have relied on similar partnership models to accelerate the delivery of their high-speed rail networks. A standout example is France's Bretagne-Pays de la Loire line, completed in only 5 years by the private company Eiffage Rail Express. California is now exploring comparable arrangements for its own project. But a partnership of this scale does more than change the funding structure. It changes expectations. With private capital in play, the authority could move from a one-segment-at-a-time approach to building multiple sections simultaneously, dramatically accelerating timelines that have long frustrated supporters and critics alike. And this is why the next piece of the story, such as state law, as well as the question of which section opens first, matters so much. With private partners ready to join and timelines set to accelerate, what happens when those partners start asking where the first trains should actually run? Do you think the starting segment should stay in the Central Valley or shift toward Gilroy and Palmdale? State law, specifically Senate Bill 198, currently requires the authority to complete a Merced to Bakersfield starter segment before anything else. That law was written to ensure the Central Valley would not be left behind and that early construction would deliver a real, usable corridor. But now that private firms are formally in the picture, the economics of the first segment are being re-examined. The authority has repeatedly stated that while the Central Valley line has clear construction advantages, it will not generate the kind of ridership or revenue that private partners expect from a world-class high-speed system. A segment running between Gilroy and Palmdale, meanwhile, offers a vastly stronger business case. It connects to Silicon Valley and San Francisco through the electrified Caltrain network and Los Angeles County through the high-demand Antelope Valley corridor. It serves 2 major population centers that already have heavy daily travel demand. It also includes some of the most dramatic engineering in the United States, the Pacheco Pass tunnels linking the Bay Area to the Central Valley, and the Tehachapi Mountain Crossing heading south toward Palmdale. These sections are more expensive, but they also create the ridership base needed to run a profitable line. The authority made this clear in an August report that found a Gilroy to Bakersfield first phase would generate higher ridership, stronger operating revenue, and faster expansion possibilities. The report immediately raised concerns from leaders in Merced, who fear that modifying SB 198 could sideline their region after years of investment, Choudhury insists that is not the case. "We can get it done," he told the Fresno Bee, "but everything needs to be sequenced in the right order." He argues that private partners will not commit resources to a limited low-revenue starter line. These firms want a segment that moves people between major cities from day one. This debate will come to a head in early 2026 when the legislature reconvenes. Choudhury plans to ask lawmakers not only for more state funding, but also for changes to SB 198, so the authority can pursue whichever starting segment attracts the strongest private bids. The stakes are enormous. The decision could determine whether the first true high-speed trains in America run through farmland, through a major metro corridor, or somewhere in between. It is a moment of both opportunity and political tension. Central Valley leaders want commitments honored, investors want ridership, the authority wants momentum, and the legislature must balance all three. No matter what is decided next year, that decision will shape the next 20 years of the project. If the project shifts toward a business-driven first segment, are we finally entering the era where construction decisions are shaped by ridership models instead of regional politics? Just share your idea in the comment below. 1 for yes, 0 for not yet. We are looking forward to hearing from you. By the time 2026 arrives, the California High-Speed Rail project will be standing at the intersection of multiple major shifts, including financial, political, and structural. After more than a decade dominated by construction milestones, lawsuits, environmental reviews, and funding battles, the year ahead could become the moment when the project finally transitions into a cohesive, full-system strategy. The first shift is structural. For most of its existence, the project has been built in a slow, linear pattern. The authority could only build what the legislature funded, and those funds often came in smaller, episodic increments. That meant building the Central Valley structures, then the grade separations, then track work, then electrification, each step, depending on the last A, successful public-private partnership, changes this. With private capital in the mix, California could authorize construction on 2 or 3 major segments at the same time, something that has never happened before. The Central Valley could continue preparing track beds while tunneling begins in the Pacheco Pass, and early grading starts in the Tehachapi Mountains. The effect would be immediate. More crews, more contracts, more visible progress across the state. The second shift is political. Changing SB 198 will not be easy. Central Valley lawmakers fought hard to secure the first operating segment for their region, and they remain deeply protective of that commitment. On the other hand, lawmakers in the Bay Area and Southern California see the opportunity to open a higher ridership, higher revenue segment. Early 2026 will become the stage for a major debate over regional equity, economic logic, and the long-term viability of the system. The third shift involves public expectations. Until now, the project has been shaped by renderings, partial construction zones, and distant horizons. But with a formal partnership and long-term payment commitments, Californians could soon see something much more grounded. Clear timelines, tied to private contracts rather than political cycles. Once that happens, the conversation changes from "will it ever be built" to "how fast can it be delivered?" Choudhury's long-term goal is simple. He tends to operate revenue should eventually help pay for construction. That is how many of the world's great high-speed networks function, from Japan's Shinkansen to France's TGV system. If California can achieve that model, it will not just open one rail line. It will set a new standard for American infrastructure. This matters far beyond California. States like Texas, Nevada, and Washington are watching closely. If California can show that high-speed rail in the United States can blend public investment with private efficiency, it becomes a template other regions can follow. The year 2026 will not deliver test runs at 220 miles per hour, but it could deliver something just as important: clarity. It will set the starting point, the funding model, and the pace for the next generation of American high-speed rail. It may finally turn a long-debated idea into a system being built on multiple fronts at once. Across the country, railroads are entering a new chapter. In Minneapolis, the Green Line extension has moved into its testing phase, signaling progress toward expanded connectivity. At the same time, Connecticut's CT Rail is preparing to introduce entirely new facilities setting the stage for a reimagined commuter experience. But beyond the headlines lies a bigger story. What are governments really aiming for with these ambitious projects? In today's Great Train Speed, we'll dive into their vision, exploring how these initiatives reflect broader goals of sustainability, accessibility, and innovation in public transportation. The tracks ahead lead to transformation. Connecticut's passenger rail system is entering a new chapter, and this time the transformation comes with a distinctly European touch. After years of planning, design reviews, and careful adjustments, the Connecticut Department of Transportation has officially unveiled the first full-scale prototype of its next-generation passenger rail cars. Built by Alstom and scheduled to enter service on the Hartford line by early 2027, these cars introduce a European-style rail design never before used on a U.S. corridor. It's a major moment for CT Rail and for passengers who have waited years for a modern, reliable, and comfortable regional service. The unveiling took place at New Haven Union Station, where the wooden mock-up offers a detailed preview of the interior layout. The design reflects a thoughtful balance between aesthetics and practicality. Those include workstation tables for commuters, bike storage for multimodal travelers, overhead luggage racks, 2x2 seating, and extra-wide panoramic windows that flood the interior with natural light. The choice of finishes, lighting, and seating surfaces mirrors the modern trains commonly seen in Europe, marking a significant departure from the older fleet now in service. What makes this prototype especially meaningful is that it is fully open to the public. From November 25th to January 6th, visitors can tour the model every Tuesday and Thursday between 7 and 9 a.m. and 3 to 5 p.m. Placed conveniently in the station's east lot, the mock-up is fully ADA accessible, giving riders a direct opportunity to see, touch, and experience the future of their daily commute. These tours aren't just a promotional showcase, they're part of a wider effort to build trust, transparency, and excitement ahead of the fleet's debut. Secondly, accessibility was a defining principle from the very first design review. Wider aisles, accessible restrooms, and dedicated areas for wheelchairs and strollers reflect Connecticut's commitment to creating a rail service that welcomes every rider. A wheelchair-accessible lavatory is built directly into the design, along with automatic doors and strategically placed information screens. Every seat includes power outlets and USB charging points. For commuters who want to work en route, the workstation tables offer a practical space to write, read, or use a laptop. For cyclists, the built-in bike storage provides a seamless connection between rail and trail systems. Although the cars are engineered for speeds up to 125 miles per hour, the Hartford line is currently capped at 110 miles per hour. Still, designing for higher capabilities ensures long-term resilience and flexibility. This is an important step as states across the Northeast continue upgrading tracks, signals, and service patterns. Painted in CT Rail's signature orange, white, and black, the new cars carry a clean, recognizable identity that fits within the state's modern vision for regional mobility. Behind the scenes, this project has been years in the making. Connecticut placed a 60-car order with Alstom, one of the world's largest builders of rolling stock. The company has delivered more than 12,000 new or refurbished vehicles to major U.S. agencies and is producing Amtrak's next-generation Acela fleet. Their experience, combined with Connecticut's strict design requirements, helped shape a new coach that blends European efficiency with American standards. When the prototype arrived in New Haven, it marked a milestone not only for Connecticut, but for the entire Northeast rail network. According to CTDOT officials, several other transit agencies have already expressed interest in joining the contract to reduce costs and expand compatibility across systems. If those partnerships move forward, these European-inspired cars could spread far beyond the Hartford line, becoming a new standard for U.S. regional rail. Scott Sharon, Alstom's chief U.S. commercial officer, emphasized the larger significance of this project. These new passenger coaches will provide many years of fast and reliable service, reduce traffic congestion along highways, and help the state achieve its 2030 emissions targets, he said. CTDOT Commissioner Garrett Eucalito also highlighted the personal impact these new coaches will have on everyday riders. We're thrilled to give Connecticut riders a hands-on preview of our future rail cars, he said. This prototype makes clear our commitment to rail travel that's modern and accessible, designed around today's riders and their need for comfort, ADA access, and thoughtful amenities. That focus on riders is at the heart of Connecticut's broader strategy to rebuild public confidence in rail travel. Full delivery of the production cars will begin late next year, followed by several months of testing before they carry their first passengers in early 2027. For riders who have long depended on older rolling stock, this upgrade represents a turning point, a signal that Connecticut is ready to invest in the future, a sign that regional rail can be comfortable, predictable, and inviting. As visitors explore the mock-up, one message stands out. This is more than a rail car. It represents Connecticut's vision for the future of transportation, sleeker, greener, quicker, and thoughtfully built for the everyday needs of its riders. Judging by the buzz around the prototype, passengers are eager for the next chapter to arrive. After years of setbacks, rising costs, and intense public attention, a major moment has finally arrived for the Minneapolis-St. Paul region. Trains are now officially testing on the Metro Green Line extension, the 14.5-mile light rail project that will stretch from downtown Minneapolis to Eden Prairie. For a system that has been debated, delayed, redesigned, and closely examined at nearly every step, the sight of the first test trains gliding across the tracks marks a significant turning point. According to the Metropolitan Council, construction is now roughly 95% complete, and passenger service is expected to begin in early 2027. The extension will add 16 new stations across some of the most rapidly growing communities in the Southwest Metro, including St. Louis Park, Hopkins, Minnetonka, and Eden Prairie. Along the way, the route threads through major job centers, medical facilities, dense residential districts, and expanding commercial corridors. By the time it reaches its terminus at Southwest Station, the line will have reshaped how tens of thousands of residents think about travel, opportunity, and mobility. Of course, this project has not been easy. The price tag has been the subject of countless hearings and investigations. Every change in soil conditions, every construction challenge, and every delay has been dissected in public meetings and local headlines. But officials emphasize that every dollar has been reviewed, re-reviewed, and justified through intense financial oversight. With testing now underway, planners believe that debate can begin shifting from cost to impact, and the early signs are already visible. In fact, even before a single passenger steps on board, the Green Line extension has already reshaped the region's development pattern. More than $3.1 billion in new housing, commercial projects, and redevelopment have already been built or announced along the future rail corridor. Another $700 million is currently in the pipeline. For local leaders, this wave of investment is no coincidence. It is a direct response to the certainty that reliable all-day rail service brings to neighborhoods and business districts. Testing will continue through 2026, and it will not be simple. More than 4,000 individual safety and performance checks must be completed before the line is allowed to carry passengers. These tests measure everything from braking distance and power systems to emergency response coordination and noise levels, along with the alignment. It's a detailed process that mirrors the standards used across modern light rail networks, ensuring that once the doors open in 2027, the system will be ready for safe, dependable operations. For the Metropolitan Council, this moment represents more than finishing a project. It represents shaping the next generation of mobility for the Twin Cities. Projects like the Metro Green Line extension are smart investments in our region's future, said Met Council Interim Chair Deb Barber. She emphasized a point that often gets overshadowed by construction debates. Properties near Metro transit lines make up only 2% of the region's taxable land, but generate 20% of its property tax revenue. They connect homes to businesses, schools to hospitals, and communities to opportunities, Barber said, highlighting how transit corridors act as magnets for economic activity. Hennepin County Commissioner Marion Green expanded on that vision, Light rail projects like the Green Line extension are essential to our region and state's economic growth and environmental resiliency, she said. For Green, the argument goes beyond transportation. It's about long-term stability. The burden of car ownership is becoming more costly for residents and for our environment. Light rail is reliable, affordable, and environmentally sound. It provides an undeniable return on investment. In her words, generational projects like this will pay dividends for decades to come, reducing congestion, lowering emissions, and giving families more ways to access jobs, schools, and services without needing to drive everywhere. In Hopkins, the excitement runs even deeper, touching the city's history. Our city's name actually came from a train station, said Hopkins Mayor Patrick Hanlon. Our community was born as a bustling city on a train line. For him, the return of frequent rail service is a homecoming chance to reconnect with the roots that shaped the community long before the automobile era. With new housing, arts facilities, and pedestrian-friendly streets rising around the future stations, Hopkins sees 2027 not just as the launch of a train, but as the start of a full cultural and economic revival. The testing of the Green Line extension marks the beginning of the final stretch of a long journey. By 2027, if all goes as planned, the Southwest Metro will gain a modern, reliable light rail line built to serve both today's riders and future generations. And, with each passing test train, the region gets a little closer to that future, one where mobility is cleaner, travel is easier, and opportunity is within reach for everyone. With testing underway on one major light rail project, a big question: what's happening in other states that are also betting on a new era of transit? In the end, both stories point in the same direction. In Minneapolis, a long-delayed light rail extension is finally entering testing. In Connecticut, a new generation of European-style coaches is getting ready to welcome riders. Together, they show how different regions are quietly rebuilding rail for the next few decades, focusing on cleaner travel, better access, and a more comfortable passenger experience. If projects like these stay on track, the map of American mobility could look very different by the early 2030s. And on Great Train Speed, we'll be here to follow every step of that journey. The next generation Acela is finally arriving, faster, smoother, and built to transform the way America moves. Its route will cut straight through Connecticut, the beating heart of the Northeast Corridor, where some of the most ambitious rail upgrades in the country are now underway. Because even the most advanced train can only perform as well as the tracks, bridges, and systems that support it. High-speed innovation demands equally high-speed infrastructure, and that's exactly what Amtrak is building, piece by piece, project by project, to bring the corridor into the future. And just recently, Amtrak dropped a major announcement that caught the attention of rail fans and skeptics alike. The $1.3 billion Connecticut River Bridge project, one of the NEC's most critical upgrades, is officially on schedule and on budget. That's a rare phrase in American infrastructure, and it signals a turning point. This modern movable bridge between Old Saybrook and Old Lyme will soon replace the aging 1907 span, boosting top speeds by 55%, eliminating cascading delays, and delivering the smooth, reliable ride the new Acela and millions of daily passengers have been waiting for. So how did they build it? And what is the response from the internet? Let's find out.
It's going to look good, and it's going to last a long time.
The original Connecticut River Bridge, completed in 1907, has served as a vital artery of the Northeast Corridor for more than a century. Every day, over 50 Amtrak, including the Acela trains, CT rail trains, and freight trains, cross its aging steel spans, making it one of the most heavily used movable bridges in America. But time has caught up. The bridge's opening and closing mechanisms, once an engineering marvel, now creak and falter, leading to cascading delays for both rail and maritime traffic, especially during peak boating season. Recognizing the urgency, Amtrak, in partnership with the Federal Railroad Administration, the Connecticut Department of Transportation, and local contractors, launched a bold plan to replace the 118-year-old structure with a next-generation bridge built for modern rail. The groundbreaking in 2024 marked not just the start of construction, but the beginning of a new era in how America rebuilds its critical infrastructure. Unlike a simple rebuild, this project is a masterpiece of coordination. Amtrak's engineers are constructing the new bridge right beside the existing one, ensuring uninterrupted train service for Amtrak, CT Rail, and freight operators throughout the entire process. The work is divided into 4 strategic phases, spanning from temporary facility setup to full activation of the new span by 2031. Each component of the bridge is a product of nationwide collaboration. The massive bascule truss span and heel girder are being fabricated in South Gibsonton, Florida, the trunnion towers in Russellville, Alabama, and the approach span steel in Williamsport, Pennsylvania. Once complete, they'll be shipped north, floated into position on barges, and locked into place with millimeter precision. Temporary trestles, containment dams, and vibration control systems ensure safety and environmental protection, while active monitoring keeps the existing bridge stable and fully operational during construction. For more than a year now, crews have been working around the clock, cranes gliding over the water, welding sparks flashing against the morning mist. Every beam, cable, and bolt is being positioned with surgical accuracy, because this isn't just another repair, it's a total reinvention of how the corridor moves. What makes this project remarkable isn't just its engineering, but its execution. Amtrak and its partners have stayed on schedule and on budget, a milestone that signals a new level of discipline and accountability in American infrastructure. So how did the internet respond to this claim and this project? Within hours, the comments section filled with stories, frustrations, and debates that revealed just how personal this project has become for the people who live along the Northeast Corridor. One viewer shared a story that struck a chord. Their train had been delayed for nearly 4 hours because of the old bridge's unpredictable operation. Enough said, they wrote. It was the kind of comment that didn't need embellishment. A quiet, weary truth from someone who'd lived through the inconvenience of aging infrastructure. Then came the backlash. Someone argued that the bridge didn't need fixing at all, that taxpayer money was being wasted in this economy. But that claim didn't last long before the replies arrived. One response, sharp but good-natured, pointed out the obvious. Well, it actually is broken, so yes, fix it. Another voice joined in, less patient this time, calling the anti-rebuild stance an ignorant take. The thread became a digital microcosm of America's infrastructure debate. Those who see spending as waste, and those who see it as investment. And then, amid the noise, came a single comment that received the most likes. They thanked Amtrak and its teams for pushing forward despite all the criticism, for choosing to rebuild while everyone else was busy disagreeing. It wasn't loud or technical, it was simple, and it resonated. Some saw the bridge not just as a local upgrade, but as a national necessity. One viewer pleaded, almost urgently, for the momentum to continue. Please keep building rail. For national security, we need infrastructure beyond just roads and airplanes. Rail is how we diversify. It was a sentiment that cut through political lines, echoing the belief that trains aren't just about transportation, but resilience. A backbone that connects industries, cities, and people. Some even followed this project meticulously. They pointed out new towers rising at both ends of the movable span, carrying the catenary lines over the bridge, proof that the footage was already a few weeks behind the real-world progress. And, inevitably, the conversation turned political. Some offered thanks, loud, emotional thanks, to President Joe Biden for backing the infrastructure law that made the project possible. "Thank you, Joe," one wrote simply. Another hoped out loud that America would continue electing leaders who love trains. It was part nostalgia, part hope. A reminder that for all the division surrounding public spending, projects like this still tap into something deeply American. The idea that building connects us more than arguing ever will.
This bridge is going to be a massive improvement for all of the traveling public.
Every revolution in rail begins with one stretch of track, one bridge, one signal system that dares to go beyond what came before. The Connecticut River Bridge is one of those moments, a single upgrade with ripple effects stretching from Boston to Washington, D.C. When the new bridge opens by 2031, it won't just serve Connecticut. It will strengthen the spine of the entire Northeast Corridor, the busiest passenger rail line in the Western Hemisphere. For the next generation Acela, sleek, electric, and built for sustained high speeds, this bridge is more than a crossing. It's a gateway to its full potential. With increased clearances and a top operating speed of 70 miles per hour, trains that once slowed to 45 miles per hour will now glide across seamlessly, cutting precious minutes from travel times and easing congestion that once rippled through the corridor. It's not just about moving faster, it's about moving smarter. Fewer slowdowns mean more reliable schedules, less energy wasted, and better coordination with maritime traffic that once forced daily pauses. The bridge also embodies something deeper: confidence in the future of American rail. Each beam fabricated in Florida, each tower assembled in Alabama, each span forged in Pennsylvania represents a network of skilled hands and American industries working together toward the same goal: modernizing how the country moves. For decades, the story of infrastructure in the U.S. has been one of delays and overruns. Now Amtrak is rewriting that story, with a project that's running on time and on budget. Do you think project will work out the way it's visioned, or is there another hidden problem that needs to be fixed also? Give us your thoughts in the comments. Big things are happening on the rails. After years of frustration with outdated infrastructure, Amtrak is finally turning the corner. The Airo is coming, the high-speed Acela is on the horizon, and upgrades are underway. But with all this innovation, one question remains: can the infrastructure keep up? Join us as we uncover the answers in today's episode of Great Train Speed. Big news! Amtrak just had its best year ever. In fiscal year 24, more than 32.8 million people rode the train. That's an all-time record, and Amtrak matched that demand with a massive $4.5 billion push into tracks, stations, tunnels, bridges, and new trains. It's the biggest construction wave in the company's history, putting thousands of skilled Americans to work and jump-starting U.S. rail manufacturing. So what changes for you as a rider? First, the new trains. The Airo fleet is rolling out on routes like Cascades with brighter interiors, bigger windows, quieter rides, better accessibility, and a calmer experience end-to-end. On the Northeast Corridor, the next-gen Acela, or called Avelia Liberty, brings modern aerodynamics, refined interiors, and tech designed for consistent high-speed performance. There's an economic and sustainability upside as well. These projects support union jobs, retool U.S. factories, and rebuild domestic rail supply chains. And as the fleet gets cleaner and more efficient, riding the train becomes an even smarter, low-carbon choice without sacrificing convenience. Next up, we're breaking down what's coming route by route, and how these upgrades could shave minutes off your trip or make that weekend getaway way easier. If this is your kind of update, tap subscribe so you don't miss the update. Everything about trains is right here on Great Train Speed. Two new trains, Amtrak's Airo and the next generation Acela for high-speed premium service, form the twin pillars of Amtrak's future. Together, they symbolize a once-in-a-generation reinvestment to make the country's busiest rail corridor faster, cleaner, and more dependable. But no fleet can meet its potential without modern facilities behind it. To that end, Amtrak's NEC infrastructure and capital delivery teams are rolling out a corridor-wide overhaul of its maintenance yards, each one tailored to support both Airo and Liberty. The result is a coordinated network of high-capacity pit lanes that turn trains faster, maintain them more efficiently, and extend the lifespan of costly rolling stock. In Boston, the $583 million Southampton Yard program leads the way. Managed under a design-build partnership between SPS New England and Railroad Construction Company, it's the prototype of how Amtrak intends to modernize while keeping service live. Construction is phased, so trains continue to cycle through as crews add a new two-track maintenance and inspection M&I building and convert the existing regional shop into a dedicated service and cleaning hall. The concept mirrors an automotive pit stop, multiple tracks, modular tooling, and on-site parts storage to minimize downtime. Once complete in 2029, Boston's South Station will see shorter layovers, cleaner sets, and steadier departures, benefiting both Airo and Acela formations, linking New England to New York, Philadelphia, and beyond. Farther south, Queens Sunnyside Yard, one of North America's largest rail facilities, is undergoing its own transformation through 2030 under the Scalamandre-Sitnalta joint venture. The focus here is flow. A new two-track M&I building will handle routine inspections and minor corrective work, while 6 covered service and cleaning tracks shield crews from weather extremes. The yard's commissary, parts storage, and employee workspaces are being consolidated into a modular complex for efficiency. 11 service platforms are being restored to full function, and 2 major interlockings plus NEC lead tracks are being reconfigured to reduce congestion. These geometric and signal upgrades may sound subtle, but they're crucial. After all, they unlock more dependable departure slots for both Airo and Acela sets, operating to and from Albany, Boston, Chicago, Washington, and even long-distance connections southward to Richmond, Raleigh, Charlotte, Miami, and New Orleans. At the southern end, Washington's Ivy City Yard, Amtrak's principal service base for the capital region, is being rebuilt by Clark Herzog. The modernization adds 3 canopy-covered service and cleaning tracks and upgrades 2 existing two-track maintenance buildings with state-of-the-art lifts, overhead cranes, and safety systems. A new drop table reduces heavy truck and wheel set replacement from multi-day tasks to a matter of hours, while yard-wide water main replacements allow multiple train sets to be provisioned simultaneously. Work is carefully phased, so Ivy City remains operational, with completion targeted for 2030. At Philadelphia's Pencoach Yard, a $462 million program, led by Herzog, will consolidate several scattered shops into one 350,000 square foot heavy maintenance complex. Equipped with full-length pits, drop tables, fueling pads, and a direct fixation track for precision alignment, the facility will dramatically raise throughput and reliability. New retaining walls, utility relocations, and catenary structures ensure future compatibility with electric operations. Scheduled to open in 2027, the hub will anchor Amtrak's central region and cut failure-to-start incidents before trains even leave the yard. In Seattle, King Street Yard, home to Cascades and long-distance services, is receiving a $300 million PCL construction-led overhaul. It's a nearly 100,000 square foot pre-engineered building that features standardized bays, overhead lifts, and optimized workflows that let multiple Airo consists move through at once. By synchronizing designs and part standards between coasts, Amtrak creates economies of scale that strengthen training, spare parts logistics, and uptime for the entire national network. Finally, in Rensselaer, Albany, concept design is advancing for 2 new M&I tracks and 3 service and cleaning tracks with canopy coverage and smart utility routing. This Empire service node is tightly connected to the NEC, and its modernization ensures that trains feeding into New York and Boston can be turned and serviced as efficiently as their corridor counterparts. A design award is expected later this year. When the full program matures by decade's end, passengers will see the difference not just in minutes saved, but in confidence gained, consistent departures, fewer breakdowns, quieter rides, and cleaner train sets that feel worthy of the 21st century. The Northeast Corridor has always been America's flagship railway. The Airo and Acela Liberty era is its long overdue refit, pairing modern hardware with the infrastructure that keeps it ready every morning. From Boston's Southampton to Washington's Ivy City, the message is the same. Reliable rail begins in the yard, but its payoff runs the full 457 miles of the corridor. Quite promising, right? We're hearing a lot of optimism from manufacturers and the government, but promises don't move trains. Projects do. Do these upgrades feel worth it to you? 1 equals necessary, 0 equals not convinced. Drop your take below. Amtrak's yard and fleet upgrades aren't happening in isolation because they're the result of a durable coalition that runs from the White House to state capitals and down to the shop floor. President Roger Harris puts it plainly, strong backing from the Trump administration, Congress, and many others is what's clearing the way for Airo trains to begin Northeast Corridor service in 2027. Governors are sinking the ground game. Massachusetts' Maura Healey situates Southampton Yard within a broader push for more rail choices and less highway congestion. New Jersey's Phil Murphy connects Sunnyside improvements to fewer breakdowns and better amenities. And in Virginia, VPRA's DJ Statler links facility work to the Transforming Rail in Virginia plan. So added tracks and modern shops move forward together. Advocates are keeping the focus on execution. Rail Passengers Association CEO Jim Matthews notes that shiny coaches alone don't deliver on-time performance. You need shops, parts, processes, and people funded year after year, which is why heavy maintenance hubs in Philadelphia and Seattle are advancing in parallel with NEC yard upgrades. For riders, the outcome is tangible. Clearer timetables, cleaner trains, faster turns in service and cleaning halls, and more seats where demand is strongest. For workers and manufacturers, it means steady project pipelines, union jobs, and domestic supply chains tooling up around real orders. For cities and the climate, it means shifting trips off highways and short-haul flights to lower carbon rail without sacrificing convenience. After all, this is effective government relations in motion, federal dollars aligned with state priorities, private partners under contract, and watchdogs focused on results. If it stays on track, the payoff is straightforward: more reliable service, modern rolling stock, and a network ready to handle record demand for decades. And as you want to know more about how these yard investments translate into on-time performance, we can break that down next. Change is arriving on the tracks of New York. After years of anticipation, the city's rail system is finally stepping into the future. This transformation is a bold reimagining of how trains serve the region. Faster journeys, smarter facilities, and innovations that could set a new standard for urban transit are unfolding before us. The impact will ripple across communities, shaping the way people live, work, and connect. So, what's driving this evolution? What breakthroughs are redefining the rails? In today's episode of Great Train Speed, we uncover the story of New York's new era. The New York City subway, a labyrinthine marvel born in 1904, embodies the metropolis's unyielding spirit. Stretching 665 miles across 472 stations in Manhattan, Brooklyn, Queens, and the Bronx, this 24/7 flat-fare network transports millions of passengers daily on 36 lines. Its rumbling cars a symphony of urban life. However, the system is fragile. Its century-old signal setup, relying on faulty relays and manual levers, causes nearly 4,000 delays each month and struggles to handle growing ridership. Problems like worn tracks, old trains, and staff shortages make things worse. Assaults have tripled since 2009, linked to mental health and homelessness issues. Storms such as Hurricane Sandy reveal flooding risks, damaging platforms, and leaving commuters stranded. Upgrades like CBTC automation and plans to reach 95% ADA accessibility by 2055 bring hope. But the subway's challenges show one clear truth: New York needs bold investment to keep moving. And they've truly done it. After years of planning and setbacks, something new is finally arriving in their system. This is an upgrade that promises faster service, smoother operations, and a glimpse of the future. What once seemed impossible is now within reach, and riders can look forward to changes that will transform their daily journeys. In the next part of this video, we'll reveal the full details of this plan, and trust me, it's going to surprise you. Let's dive in. New York's subway system is entering a new chapter, and this time, the momentum begins far from the usual platforms and tunnels. Governor Kathy Hochul, together with the Metropolitan Transportation Authority, has officially opened the first of its kind railcar acceptance and testing facility. This is a state-of-the-art complex designed to bring subway cars into service faster, safer, and far more efficiently than ever before. Delivered on time and even $5.5 million under budget, the facility represents a monumental leap forward at a moment when many infrastructure projects across the country continue to struggle with delays and rising construction costs. Located beside the South Brooklyn Marine Terminal in Sunset Park, the new facility looks out over a waterfront long associated with shipping and industry. But today, it's becoming the new gateway for every modern subway car entering New York City's network. For the MTA, which is preparing for the largest infusion of new rail cars since systematic capital planning began more than a generation ago, this facility couldn't have arrived at a better time. What makes this site especially impressive is its flexibility. The complex can accept rolling stock delivered by truck, rail, or even boat, making it one of the most adaptable railcar testing centers in the United States. Once a new subway car arrives, it undergoes acceptance checks, gets linked with its sister cars, and begins its first test runs on the facility's in-house tracks. After that, the newly assembled trains enter the subway network through a direct connection, where deeper testing is performed before the trains finally enter revenue service. For New York, this is a historic milestone. It is the first brand new full-scale subway car facility built on new property since the Pitkin Yard opened in 1948. That alone gives this project a sense of generational importance. Let's recall that New York's rail system has expanded, upgraded, and adapted over the decades. The MTA's choice of a design-build model proved crucial for delivering the project within its 3-year timeline. By reducing layers of contracts and streamlining project management, the team was able to avoid the delays that often challenge rail infrastructure projects. Prefabricated building components and precast concrete made construction faster and more cost-efficient. This allows the agency to focus its spending on modern technology rather than extra overhead. It didn't take long for engineering experts to recognize the achievement. The American Council of Engineering Companies of New York awarded the facility a silver medal in the transportation category at the 2026 Engineering Excellence Awards. The award highlighted not only the technical design, but also the long-term benefits for riders, including more reliable testing, improved safety, and faster deployment of modern trains across the subway network. This facility's timing is no coincidence. New York is in the middle of a massive modernization push. The historic $68 billion 2025 to 2029 capital plan includes the purchase of 1,500 new subway cars, marking the largest investment in rolling stock since the 1980s. Many of these are already on the move, and among them, the R211 series is arriving at rapid pace, with 750 cars already delivered and another 860 still on the way. The R211 cars have already become a familiar sight across the city. They're running on the A, B, C, and G lines, with future plans to expand onto the D and Rockaway Park shuttle within the next 2 years. On Staten Island, the transformation is even more dramatic. The entire Staten Island Railway has officially completed its transition to an all R211 fleet. This is more than just a refresh. The R211 cars introduce design features focused on speed, efficiency, and rider comfort. Their 58-inch wide doors, 8 inches wider than the doors on older models, help cut down station dwell times. This pattern can reduce how long a train needs to sit at each stop. Wider doors may seem like a small change, but in a system as busy as New York's, even seconds gained at stations add up to major improvements in on-time performance. Inside, the R211's combination of brighter lighting, accessible seating layouts, digital screens, and improved signage creates a noticeable difference for everyday riders. Each car arrives with pre-installed security cameras, a first for the MTA, helping increase safety across the network. Perhaps the most telling improvement is reliability. The R211S model, now serving Staten Island, boasts a mean distance between failure rates of 125,000 and 250,000 miles. This is more than double the reliability of the outgoing R44 cars, which averaged around 50,000 miles. For riders who face daily commutes, this jump represents not just an engineering upgrade, but a meaningful improvement in everyday life. Even as the R211 rolls out across the system, The next generation is already accelerating. The MTA board has approved the purchase of 378 new R268 rapid transit cars, built by Kawasaki Railcar, Inc. Designed with specifications similar to the R211 series, they will operate on the lettered B division and set the stage for replacing some of the oldest equipment still in service. Funded through the same 2025 to 2029 capital plan, the $1.5 billion R268 contract signals a deep commitment to maintaining a modern, technologically advanced fleet. Production will start soon, with deliveries scheduled to begin in the fall of 2028 and wrap up by 2030. These cars will allow the MTA to retire the last of the R68 and R68A cars, familiar workhorses that have served New Yorkers for decades, but are reaching the end of their useful lives. On the other side of the project, one of the biggest steps forward with the R268 is its full compatibility with communications-based train control, the signaling technology that allows trains to run closer together safely. With CBTC-capable trains dominating the B division, the subway system will be able to run more frequent and more reliable service, especially on high-demand lines. The new railcar acceptance and testing facility unites these efforts. As hundreds of R211 and R268 arrive, the complex will ensure each train is tested, certified, and passenger-ready. It marks a smarter, more efficient approach to modernization, built amid national concerns over delays and cost overruns. New York shows that with careful planning and engineering excellence, major rail projects can succeed on time and within budget. For millions of riders, that success will mean cleaner trains, smoother rides, shorter waits, and a system ready for the future. With all these new R211 and R268 trains coming online, how are leaders responding to this push for modernization? Do you feel the MTA is finally on the right track toward true 21st century service? Drop 1 if you agree, and 0 if you think the city still needs to speed up. We're looking forward to hearing your thoughts in the comments below. Work is underway to complete CBTC upgrades on multiple lines. Planned improvements on the Fulton Street and Liberty Avenue corridors of the A and C trains in Brooklyn and Queens, as well as the 6th Avenue line serving the B, D, F, and M trains in Manhattan, are funded through congestion relief revenues. Upcoming modernization will extend to the Rockaway Park Shuttle, the J and Z lines from the Williamsburg Bridge to Broad Street, and the lines in Manhattan and Astoria, financed through the 2025 to 2029 capital plan. Representative Daniel Goldman remarked, "The new railcar acceptance facility in Sunset Park is exactly the kind of smart transit investment New Yorkers need. By streamlining the delivery and testing of new subway cars, this site will modernize our fleet, strengthen reliability, and ensure riders receive the safe, efficient service they deserve. I am grateful for the leadership that made this possible and look forward to the benefits it will bring to Brooklyn and the entire city." State Senator Leroy Comrie stated, "Reliable modern rail service is essential to keeping New York moving. This new testing facility allows the MTA to introduce upgraded subway cars more quickly and efficiently, enhancing safety, reliability, and the rider experience system-wide. I commend Governor Hochul and the MTA for delivering this project on time and under budget, and I look forward to continued progress that strengthens our transit network for all New Yorkers." Assemblymember Marcella Mataines noted, "Today's opening builds on Sunset Park's tradition of industrial innovation and maritime commerce. As we continue to invest in public infrastructure and transportation, I am proud to welcome this first-of-its-kind facility to our community. My thanks go to everyone who ensured the project was completed on time and under budget." Councilmember Alexa Avalais added, "I am proud to welcome this new railcar acceptance facility to our district. Public transportation is the lifeblood of our city, and investments that improve train efficiency directly benefit my neighbors who rely on NYCT for their daily commutes. I thank NYCT for their hard work in opening this facility and look forward to supporting the dedicated workers who keep New York running. The completion of CBTC upgrades and the opening of the new railcar acceptance facility mark a significant step forward in modernizing New York's transit system. With support from federal, state, and local leaders, these investments demonstrate a shared commitment to improving safety, reliability, and efficiency for millions of daily riders. By delivering projects on time and under budget, the MTA is not only strengthening the city's infrastructure, but also ensuring that New Yorkers benefit from a transit network prepared to meet the demands of the future. New Orleans, the soul of the South, just witnessed a transportation triumph. Amtrak's Gulf Coast service has returned. Known for its vibrant culture, jazz rhythms, and spicy Creole dishes, the Crescent City now adds another gem to its legacy with a rail revival that's smashing passenger projections. So what exactly did Amtrak do to blow everyone's minds? And why is this route making headlines? Let's uncover the magic behind the momentum in today's episode of Great Train Speed. After a 20-year hiatus, the return of the Mardi Gras service isn't just another timetable update, it's a comeback story for passenger rail along the Gulf Coast. For 2 decades, this corridor relied on highways and airports, while the tracks stayed quiet and the stations slowly faded into the background. So when plans to restore service finally moved forward, expectations were sky high and emotions were just as strong. Of course, the journey back hasn't been smooth. Since day one, the project has had to push through delays, negotiations, and what officials politely call construction issues. According to the head of the Southern Rail Commission, those very issues have once again pushed back the official launch of Amtrak's Mardi Gras service by a few more weeks. For riders who have been waiting years, not months, that's frustrating to hear. But here's where the story takes a dramatic turn. Even before the full Mardi Gras service is in place, Amtrak's Gulf Coast trains are already smashing expectations and shattering passenger projections. More people are riding than anyone predicted, and the big question now is, just how many travelers are choosing the train? And what does that say about the future of this corridor? We're about to dig into the ridership numbers and reveal why this surge is turning heads across the rail industry. Stick around for the next part of Great Train Speed, and before we jump in, hit that subscribe button so you never miss an update. When Amtrak's Mardi Gras service rolled out this summer, it burst back onto the Gulf Coast with every seat booked and a level of excitement many didn't expect. What started as a long-awaited revival of a historic route has quickly turned into one of the most surprising success stories in Amtrak's recent history. Nearly 3 months in, the momentum hasn't slowed for a moment. Tourists, day trippers, and daily commuters are all choosing to ride the rails from New Orleans to Mobile instead of braving the increasingly congested drive along Interstate 10. And the numbers tell a powerful story. From mid-August through the end of September, the new service carried nearly 19,000 passengers. This averages about 109 riders per day, according to Knox Ross, chairman of the Southern Rail Commission. That total has climbed to nearly 30,000 riders. In other words, demand is not just steady, it's accelerating. Trains on the old Gulf Coast, limited, once hit around 75% occupancy on their best days. On the new Mardi Gras service, Ross says trains are running at an average of about 90%. That's an astonishing figure for a line launched during Amtrak's traditionally slower months. What makes this surge even more remarkable is how far it surpasses early expectations. Amtrak originally estimated the route would attract about 71,000 riders in its entire first year. Yet at the current pace, the line could reach that milestone well before its first anniversary. For a corridor that hadn't seen rail service in nearly 2 decades, this return is nothing short of a breakthrough. The route itself is simple, scenic, and deeply meaningful to coastal communities. Trains run twice daily between New Orleans and Mobile, stopping in Bay St. Louis, Biloxi, Gulfport, and Pascagoula. One-way fares start at just $15, making the service accessible to families, students, and retirees who want a hassle-free way to move along the shoreline. And for many riders, the train offers something the highway simply can't: a relaxed trip where you can read, nap, work, or simply watch the Gulf Coast roll by. The demand has grown so quickly that Amtrak has already had to adapt. When football season kicked off, a third train car was added to accommodate the flood of fans traveling to New Orleans for Saints home games. Those 60 extra seats sold out on multiple weekends, proving just how strong the interest is, not only from locals, but from visitors who are discovering rail travel as a fun, social, and stress-free alternative on game days. The highest ridership week so far came during Cruisin' the Coast, the beloved annual classic car celebration that brings tens of thousands of enthusiasts to Mississippi's shoreline. The train became an unexpected star of the event, offering an easy way to hop from town to town. But, beyond the excitement, the Mardi Gras line represents a sign of healing and revival along a coastline that still carries the scars of Hurricane Katrina. Support from residents has been overwhelming. Friends of Amtrak Mardi Gras Service, a Facebook group created by local enthusiasts, has swelled to more than 27,000 followers. Riders share photos of sunsets from their window seats, talk about their day trips, and post practical tips for first-timers. Assisted living centers along the coast are even coordinating group trips to Mobile, showing just how broad the appeal has become. For many, traveling on trains is to share an experience, a familiar rhythm returning to daily life. Even midweek, when most routes across the country tend to dip in ridership, this line remains strong. Mark Magliari, Amtrak's senior public relations manager, says that's unusual. Normally on routes like this, Tuesdays or Wednesdays are softer than the rest of the days, but even midweek's been strong, he explained. I think that speaks to a couple of things. Firstly, the quality of the service. Secondly, the quality of the competition. He points out that Interstate 10 is more crowded than ever, and riding the train offers something drivers simply can't do safely on the road. As the environmental conversation grows louder across the country, the Mardi Gras service is gaining attention as a cleaner, more sustainable choice as well. With trains producing significantly fewer emissions than cars or planes, the route's success hints at a broader shift in how Americans might rethink travel in regions long dominated by highways. As more riders discover the convenience, comfort, and low cost of this line, the hope is that rail travel will become a regular habit rather than a novelty. For now, one thing is clear. Amtrak's Mardi Gras service is not just meeting expectations, it's smashing them. If this momentum continues into the coming months, the service could become one of Amtrak's most impressive comeback chapters. And for communities from New Orleans to Pascagoula, it's a reminder of how far they've come, and how much further they can go when they're connected by something as simple, joyful, and reliable as a train running along the Gulf. With numbers this strong, do you believe riders are finally ready to choose trains over cars along the Gulf Coast? Do you think passengers are feeling positive after this big success? Drop 1 if you think it is, and 0 if you have another opinion. We would love to hear your idea in the comment below. The recent success of Amtrak's Gulf Coast service has sparked a wave of enthusiasm among passengers, many of whom see it as a long overdue revival of rail travel in the region. The service has not only exceeded ridership projections, but also reignited a sense of optimism about the future of train travel in the United States. For many, this is more than just a transportation milestone. It's a symbol of progress and possibility. Passengers have expressed overwhelming support and excitement, with one rider exclaiming, "Amazing news! This is what it's all about." The sentiment is echoed by others who credit advocacy groups like the Rail Passengers Association for championing the cause, emphasizing the relevance of their mission. More trains in more places for more people. The Gulf Coast line, particularly the Mardi Gras route, has become a beacon for those eager to explore the region without the stress of driving. One traveler shared their experience on the 531 train out of New Orleans, noting, "Not an empty seat," a testament to the demand and enthusiasm for the service. Beyond the numbers, the emotional resonance is clear. People are tired of congested highways and long drives. They crave the comfort, convenience, and charm of rail travel. "Simply build it and they shall come," one supporter noted, capturing the spirit of this transportation renaissance. Others are already planning vacations around the route, envisioning leisurely stops in each Gulf Coast town. There's also hope that this momentum will lead to expanded service, with many looking forward to the day when trains can run beyond Mobile and into Florida. For now, the Gulf Coast Line stands as a shining example of what's possible when communities, advocates, and transit agencies come together to put passengers first. With riders this excited about better rail service, do you think the Gulf Coast is ready for even bigger transportation changes? And that wraps up today's journey.